we're gonna talk about great tools to start your coaching program. So when I started as a coach, I really struggled because I didn't know how to start, how to end a coaching program. I didn't know which tool to use, and that's the reason why we have decided to launch GoMasterCoach. Today, we're gonna focus specifically on how to start. You know, the very first step of a coaching relationship, because it's very important to start on a high note. Okay? So just a few rules. Lily, if you want to cover.
Yes. So all of you, please mute yourself. So it's either on the top right or on the bottom left. And so make sure you are all muted so that it's easier for everybody. If you need to ask a question, you can. There's a chat at the bottom. At least for me, at the bottom, there's a chat button when you can ask questions, and we'll have a Q&A question at the end. Q&A session at the end. There will be some polls, so participate in polls. We will do some fun breakout rooms. So each time we do webinars, this is one of the most fun parts where you can connect with other coaches. If you have any quality issues, please turn off your video because that's your bandwidth, the internet bandwidth. So you can turn off your video so you find that you have a better connection.
Okay, so we want to share a bit about ourselves. So let me introduce you, Aurélie or Lily. Lily is a passionate entrepreneur. She has started she's managing many different startups. She has a background in tech and finance. She's the brain behind the GoMasterCoach web app. And I'm so glad to be a partner in this amazing journey.
And so Geraldine, so also I'm very extremely grateful to have met Geraldine a few years back and co-founded the GoMasterCoach together. In my eyes, she's one of the best coaches out there. She's extremely caring and she wants to do the best for the coaching community. And that's why there's so much generosity doing those webinars for free right now. She has 18 years of professional experience and has tons of certifications like PCC certified, Gallup Strengths coach certified. And she's very passionate about NLP, behavioral coaching. She's also the best trainer when we do the certification class. And she's a triathlete. She even won some races, triathlon races, and a mom of 3 wonderful kids that I love. Yes.
Okay, so this is about us. And our mission at GoMasterCoach is to help you develop your coaching skills through 2 things. The first one is a certification program, and the second is a coaching toolbox web app. We receive lots of questions regarding the ICF certification program, so we've decided that at the end of this webinar at 12:30, if you have any questions, we will stay for 10 minutes and answer any question you may have. We don't want you to waste your time during the webinar. So at the end, we will open this Q&A session, okay? And we'll talk about the coaching toolbox web app as well.
So our philosophy for us is very important to share our philosophy. We want to make sure like everything we say is like industry research and best practices here today and in all the content that we share. We love to learn by doing, so we want to make it fun. And the best way to learn is like you are actually doing it, because if it's only theory, it doesn't stick as much. Collective intelligence. So we're very lucky to be surrounded by wonderful people today. So making sure we have this collective intelligence and sharing. Self-development journey. So we want you also to develop. So when you do the certification program or today that you're always learning. And even us, we keep learning every day and we love it. And last but not least, the toolbox, so your digital assistant. So we gave you access to the toolbox. Feel free to use it if you have any questions, and we'll go over it also today a bit. And we'll do a session on that later, like in a few weeks.
Okay, are you ready for the best part of the webinar? So we always like to start with a great energizer. So I'm going to ask you to stand up. And so many of you know this energizer. For those who don't know, you just have, it's very simple. Whenever you hear ROXANNE, so we're going to put the music ROXANNE from Police. Whenever you hear ROXANNE, you're going to do a squat. Whenever you hear red light, you have to jump. Okay? Are you guys ready? Ah. Full stop, full stop. Listen. Okay, guys, how was it? I think my neighbors will start to hate me with all those jumps. But anyway, so it's a fun exercise. We love it, but it's also a great way to release cortisol, the stress hormone. Especially these days, we need that. And it's also a great way to connect your mental, physical, and emotional senses. And this is something as a coach you definitely need. It's a great way to clear your mind, to empty your cup, to be very mindful, and to focus on what we're going to share today. Okay, we always like to explain why we are doing what we are doing. And I think as a coach, it's very important as well, whenever you do something, to explain to your clients why you're doing that. Okay, today we're going to help you kickstart your coaching relationship on a high note. So we're going to look at different tools, tips, and technique to structure the start of a coaching relationship. Okay, we're going to look at the coaching agreement. We're going to look at discovery questions, wheel of life, SMART goals, life map, and how to create rapport. At the end of the session, there will be a great fun breakout room. You will be able to share with someone else about your key takeaways. Okay, so now let's start. So you have started your journey as a coach. Now you know more or less who you want to serve, what is your niche. You had a great, you received a call from your ideal client. Okay, I want to meet you. I need to be coached. And then you meet this person, you had a great chemistry session, and it is a yes. It's a yes, you have a new client. So congratulations, well done, you have a new client. So now what? What are you gonna do? I'm sure you're stressed. My first client, I was so happy. I was like, wow, that's amazing, my first client. And then I was stressed, really stressed. Oh my gosh, there were so many questions. I might not be good enough. What if I can't help my coachee? I might not be able to deliver results straight away. And what if we get stuck in the coaching session? And how should I start? Those are all the questions I had. So it stressed me a lot. And we are here to help you avoid that. So now let me ask you a question. Today, how confident are you to coach? Can you see the poll? Okay. Are you confident? 1 to 3 is pretty low. 4 to 6 is okay. I'm a beginner, but it's okay. 1 to 9 is like, wow, I'm pretty confident. And 10 is I'm the master. Okay, so please vote. so that we have an idea of how confident you guys are. Okay, so we have 90% vote. So I'm going to end the poll and share the results. All right, so a vast majority of you guys are between 4 to 6 in terms of confidence. Now, the next question you can ask yourself is, what do I need to increase my level of confidence? I guess it's experience, but it's also having good tools and knowing what to do and at which moment. And this is what we're going to do today. Have you seen the results? Yes. Okay. Good. So when I started as well, always there were lots of tension. Okay, I need to deliver quick impact. I need first results. But at the same time, I know that being a coach is about being patient, being fully present, and not worrying about delivering results straight away. And also being a coach, it's about not delivering short-term results, but also sustainable results. So I have lots of tensions. But don't worry, guys, we are here to help you. You don't have to have those tensions because you can deliver both. And whether you're doing life coaching, wellness coaching, business coaching, executive coaching, or career coaching, that's okay. We will walk you through a step-by-step approach to help you start your relationship on a high note. So we have covered a coaching framework in our first webinar. It's okay if you were not there. You can listen to this webinar. We recorded it. Today, we're going to focus at the beginning of the relationship. We won't cover the different steps. We will really focus at the inception. Just right after the chemistry session, when you have a new client, what do you do? So now, grab a pen and some paper. Again, it's really about what you want to learn, and it's about your engagement and your involvement during this session. You will get what you will put in it. Okay, so be very focused, do not multitask, and be fully present. Okay, so we're going to cover coaching agreement, discovery question, wheel of life, SMART goals, life map, and rapport. What is the very first step? How would you start? So the very first step is the coaching agreement. Okay? So the coaching agreement is very important. But why is it so important to have a coaching agreement in place with your new coachee? It's very important because it sets the ground rules for the coaching relationship. And most importantly, maybe, it increases your coachee's responsibility, commitment, and accountability. Okay? And I would suggest, even if you do pro bono session, you can have a very short coaching agreement that will help your coachee be more committed. It's also a great way to show that you are on top of things right from the start. The first impressions are very important. And last but not least, it draws the professional lines within which the relationship should thrive. So make sure you have a coaching agreement in place. But the next question is, okay, why should I put in this coaching agreement? Well, here is a checklist. First and foremost, you need to put obviously the name of the client and the coach. You can add the program name if you have one, and the objective if you know it already. You have to put the number of sessions and the length of the sessions, obviously, the duration, the delivery mode, will it be virtual or in person? If it's in person, where should it be? Very important, the confidentiality principles and the ethics, fees and payment mode, and cancellation policy. And cancellation policy is very important because you don't want to bother. It's better to set the rules from the very beginning about and to anticipate any issue and to be clear about your cancellation policy. Usually, I ask my coachee to let me know 48 hours before if they want to change the coaching session. Okay.
So basically, we wanted also to help you with the app so that it follows exactly the flow that we are going to go through today. So you got access, all of you, to the app. When you go on the dashboard, so that's an example of your dashboard. When you go on My Client, you click Invite a New Client. So that's to invite a new client. And then you put all the information, their email, number, like first name, last name, the name of the program. So you would have selected the program that you would have designed yourself, or one of the programs that we have designed, the number of sessions, the price of the coaching program. And also when you click on View Coaching Agreement Template, we have done a coaching agreement template for you that's going to be sent automatically to your coachee, to your client.
Okay, I have a good, very good question from Mary asking, okay, do we need a coaching agreement when we give free session? No, you don't need a coaching agreement, but I would recommend to have a very simple email or anything, or maybe a simple coaching agreement saying, I commit to follow the rules and etc. Because it will increase the accountability and commitment of your coaches. And we know that this is the main issue we face when we do pro bono and free sessions. People are not as committed. So if you engage them with an agreement, it will increase their accountability. Jimmy is asking, can we amend or adjust the coaching template? You can just amend it with the name of the program, the number of sessions, and the price, obviously, but not the terms. But we're always happy to get feedback. So if you have a good feedback on the coaching agreement, we're happy to hear them, and we might change and upgrade it. Okay. When we use, Anne-Sophie is asking, when we use the apps, they would automatically receive the contract, right? Right, Lily?
Yes, yes. Yes, they will automatically receive the contract. It will be automatic, and you can see the template here. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. And if it's free, you can just put 0, and that's fine. Okay. All right. So now you have a coaching agreement in place. What's next? So the next is to send an invoice, to schedule the first meeting, and to send an invitation. Why is it so important to send an invitation? I have very busy clients, and I know they expect me to send an invitation. It sounds obvious, but please do it. Huh? You will look much more professional. Okay.
On the app, again, you can book the next coaching session. So you can click on booking a session, and then you can put the date and the duration of the session. And then it will send automatically to the client.
Okay, so now you're done with the administrative work. Great. Now what do? What we suggest you do is to send preparatory work or a coaching tool. This is not compulsory. Not all the coaches will do that, but I would strongly suggest to send some work before the first session. Why? Because it will help your coachee be in a coaching mode, okay? And start thinking and self-reflecting on key topics he wants to discuss. All right, so there are different types of questions, questionnaires, and tools that you can send. We recommend some of them. Obviously, there are many others, but this is what we strongly recommend. The first one is called Discovery Questions. So we have that in the app. It's a list of very powerful questions to better understand your coachee, but also to help your coachee start reflecting on what he wants to achieve. So it's not the answer that enlightens, it's the question. And this is the cornerstone of coaching, right? Now, I want you to take your pen and you're going to answer quickly those questions while I'm asking them. It's a great exercise for you. So the first question I'm going to send before the first session is, okay, what words describe you at your best? So just think about maybe 2-3 words that describe you at your best. For me, it can be maybe the energy, being engaging, when I'm at my best, being positive. What about you guys? Do not overthink it. Huh? We just do a quick exercise to show you how powerful it can be for your clients. Now, what do you think are your weak points? I can be very impatient. I don't know. I can feel overwhelmed when there's too many tasks. I'm doing too many tasks at the same time. What about you? Next one. You can, if you don't have enough time, please do it after, but take the time to really reflect on yourself. I love this question is what do you get complimented on the most? Okay. It's a great way to create distance with yourself and just instead of thinking, okay, what I am very good at, it's what do I get complimented on the most? Okay. Now, next one, what motivates you? Is it about sharing? Is it about learning? Is it about, I don't know, anything? It's about your drivers, your inner drivers. As a coach, it's very important to understand your coach's motivation drivers. Now, the big one, you might not be able to answer it now, but think about it later. I think it's one of the most powerful questions. What dream of yours is still unfulfilled? It's not easy, huh? It's not an easy one, and you might, but it's such a powerful one. We tend to forget our dreams, but it's always important to step back and say, oh, what was my dream and what do I really want to achieve? Okay. Next one. What words describe how you feel about your career or your life? Depending on if you're offering career coaching or life coaching or executive coaching, you can adapt. So let's focus on career today. How do you feel about your career? Are you proud? Are you satisfied? Are you bored? Do you need a big change? Okay, and I'm gonna ask you now, I want to know a bit more about you guys. What words would describe your career? It's a bit different way of asking. So what words would describe your career? Actually, see what words. Okay, so if you can please answer the poll now. So obviously, it might not be, is it successful? Is it bumpy, fulfilling? Is it a failure? Is it a journey? Is it boring? Is it amazing? Oh, that's interesting. We have two dominant ones. Okay. Okay, 97% voted. So let's share the poll now. So most of you see your career as a journey. I would say that's the same for me. Okay, next we have fulfilling. We have some people who think it's bumpy, amazing, very few boring, and no one failure. We're happy to hear that. And 1% think it's successful. Okay, thank you guys for sharing. Now, those are the first questions you can send. And then you can also send questions about the coaching and what they expect. So this you don't need to answer, but it's a great question. I would strongly encourage to ask before the first session. And those questions you can also ask them during the chemistry session. So the first one is, what do you most want to get out of coaching? Okay. Second one is, what would success look like at the end of the coaching? Very important. It's a bit different, right? What about success? I always use success. It's very important. It make it clearer and more tangible most of the time. How do you learn? What is your learning style? Very important to understand your coach's learning style. How they will change, how they will learn, how they will grow. Some people, they are very organized, they need structure, they need action point. Some others, they need more practice, they need to do things to learn. Okay, some people, they are more intellectual, more cerebral, and they will learn by reading books and doing some courses. So be clear on your coach's learning style. Now, how will you know you are receiving value from this coaching relationship? So this is an important one. And what else would you like me to know about? You can ask your client. So Lily?
So now the next step, so what we just did today, like, was about the discovery questions. So when you send an invitation to someone on the app, it goes directly to their page. So here I send an invitation to Michelle Johnson. So I'm directly on their page. And so you would, it is preloaded with the tools that are in the program that you selected when you send the invitation. And when you click on share, you would send a discovery question that we discussed. So when you click on share, it sends directly. We would advise when you send the coaching agreement to send at least 1 or 2 tools, and depending on the person you're talking to, can be 1 or 2. But try to do it as soon as you send the coaching agreement, so you keep them engaged and you especially on this onboarding stage.
Okay. And this is where you...
That's the vision that your coachee has. So that's Michelle, so her view of the app. So when Michelle, my coachee, would go on the app, when she goes on tool, because I sent her a discovery question and Wheel of Life in this example, then she can click on start and get the tools done. I send her also a next session, so a calendar invite. So we're ready to roll.
Yes, and this one, so Jay is asking whether it's the coach view or the coachee's view. So this one is the coachee's view, right?
Yes. And this one is the coachee view. So that's the coach view. The coach would have more in the menu. Huh? You have more. So in the coachee, it's a simplified version. They just have home, which is the dashboard, their program, the calendar, and your mini site about you, the coach.
This one is the coach view, and the next one is the coach's view.
Right, exactly. So that's the coachee dashboard. Yeah.
All right. So this is one of the first tools that you can send. So you can send through the app, or you can just send if you don't have the app, or if you can just send questions in advance. It will help you coaches be in the right mode, right coaching mode from the very even before the first session. Another amazing tool, one of the most popular tools that I usually send before the first session, is the Wheel of Life. It's a very, very powerful tool, and you can use it in any types of coaching, whether you do wellness coaching, life coaching, career coaching, it can work. Okay, so what is the Wheel of Life? The Wheel of Life, it's a circle that represents your life and is divided in 8 dimensions, and each dimension represents an area of your life. So on this Wheel of Life, you can see spiritual, career, finance, family, health, fitness, fun, recreation, friends, and personal development. And I'm going to walk you through step by step how you can use the Wheel of Life. But first of all, I want to tell you how great this tool is to start a coaching program. Why? Because it helps you, your client, step back and look at their life from an helicopter, from an overview, and to understand where they are currently, where they want to be, and how they want to make the changes. From moving from where they are to moving to from where they are to where they want to be. Okay, let me ask you a question now. I'd like to know if you have ever done your Wheel of Life. So let's do a quick poll. Have you ever done your own wheel of life? Yes, no? Okay, interesting. Okay, so most of you have done it. So let me share the result. Can you see that? So 69% of you have done it already. That's great. It's very important to know well the tools that you are using with your clients. So let's take, but it's very important also to do it on a regular basis. And today we're going to take a helicopter view of your life. Okay? So I'm going to walk you through the different steps. So first of all, I want you to take a paper and a pen, and you're going to draw a big circle with 8 dimensions. Okay? And name each dimension. So the first one is career. Second one is finances. Third, family and friends. Fourth is fun and recreation. Fifth is health. Then it's personal and spiritual development. Important one, romance. And last one is physical environment. It's where you live, where you work, your flat, everything. Okay? So this is the first step. And this is something you can do with your client during a session, or you can send the tool before the session. I would recommend to send it before the session so that you can save time and focus on what really matters during the coaching session. Now, let me ask you, so the center of the wheel, it's 0, and the edge is 10. 1, sorry, 1. 1, it's your level of satisfaction is very low. 10, it's like, it's amazing. So for each dimension, let's start by career. I want to know, how satisfied are you with your career today? It's a snapshot of today, okay? I'm not asking you about your past, I'm asking you about today. How do you feel about your career? So I'm going to show an example. So let's say I like my job, but I don't really like my team. I'm not talking for me. Huh? So it's okay. It's P and S development is personal and spiritual development. Someone is asking. Okay. So how would you rate your career today? So let's say it's a 5. Okay. So you can draw a line. Now, the next question is, okay, so it's a 5, you're not so fulfilled. Where would you like to be? They say, oh, it's not always a 10. Huh? Some people will say always 10. Some others won't say 10. I say, oh yeah, I'd like to be at a 8. 8 would be great. I mean, I like my job, but I need to work in a different team, different environments. So it's a 10. It's an 8, sorry. Okay, so this is the first step. Okay, the yellow part is the current status. Now let's move to finances. Okay, how would you rate your level of satisfaction with regards to your finances today? So for instance, I like my career is okay. I earn quite a lot of money, but I don't really like, I mean, I'm not very fulfilled by my job, but at least I earn money. So let's say it's a 7. Finances is 7. Okay, where would you like to be? Oh, 8 would be good. Okay. And while you're doing this exercise, you can write on the side some keywords. Okay, especially on where you want to be. Okay, finances, it's done. Now let's move to family and friends. Okay, so today I'm living very far away from my family, very far from my family. So it's very difficult. I would say I'm a 3, okay? And I know that it cannot be changed yet. So my target is to improve to 5 maybe. Maybe I will have more Zoom. Maybe I will call them more often to reach a 5. But today it's a 3. Just giving you examples. Huh? Okay, family and friends. Now, let's move to fun and recreation. It's more your hobbies. So for me, for instance, I'm really into sports. I love to do triathlon. So I can exercise every other day. So I'm an 8. I'm very happy with all my hobbies and especially sports. So it's an 8 and I'm happy with an 8. 8 is good. So that's my target as well. Now, let's move to health. How is your health today? How do you feel? Do you feel healthy? You can say, yeah, maybe I'm okay. I'm a 7, but I feel a bit overweight and I'd love to lose some kilograms. So I'd like to be a 9. If I lose a bit of weight, I will feel healthier. And yeah. Now, let's move to personal and spiritual development. So personal and spiritual development is not, for some people it's faith, it's religion. Some others it's about developing, growing yourself. It's about personal development. So it depends. It can be very different according to different people. So let's say as a coach, I feel my personal and spiritual development is amazing. I'm learning every day about myself, about others. So I'm an 8. Okay. I can be, and I'd love to be a 9 by maybe reading more books and more philosophy. I would reach a 9. Okay. What about you guys? Think about you. How would you assess your personal and spiritual development? Okay, let's move to romance now. Romance, so it's your relationship. So how do you feel? You can say, oh, my relationship is great. I'm an 8, but sometimes we argue. It's more and more often. So I don't know why. I would love to reach a 9. 9 would be as it is now, but with less argument, for instance. I'm just giving examples, guys. All right. We're going a bit quickly on this one, obviously, because we don't have much time, but it's a very important tool. And please, if you don't have enough time to reflect, you can do it later on your own. Last one is physical environment. It's about where you live. And it can have a huge impact on your life balance. If you live in a small flat with no light, no natural light, for instance, or if your desk is very tiny, it can have a huge impact on your mental health and your wellness. So how do you feel? Okay, so how would you rate your level of satisfaction from 1 to 10? So now you have your wheel of life. You can color the snapshot, today's snapshot, and to look at it. Step back and look at it. And I'm going to ask you some questions. We can look like that on the app. If you do it on the app, and I would strongly encourage you to do it on the app for yourself, but also to send it to your clients. This is the outcome you will get, and you will get also some a report with a lot of recommendations for each of those dimensions and how to improve your level of satisfaction for each of those dimensions.
So on the app, you go on self-coaching. In the menu, you have self-coaching. You can click on it and you can do all the tools as many times as you want. So you can play around with it.
So Jay is asking, can one change the headings? No, you cannot, but we can, and we have developed different wheels. We can discuss that later. And again, we're always happy to have great suggestions. So if you want to develop your own wheel, please let us know and we can consider it. Okay, now that you have your wheel of life, I'm going to ask you some questions. How do you feel about your life as you look at your wheel? How is it? Is it balanced? Is it bumpy? How is it? Look at it, step back. And just write some keywords. Now, are you surprised by anything? Have you been surprised by doing this exercise? Because sometimes we feel like, oh, my life is very balanced. And then when you look at the details and you really think about it and you take time to really think honestly about it, you might realize that your life is not as balanced as you thought. So it's a great tool to really dig into that. Now, another question that you can ask your coaches is, okay, how do you currently spend time in these areas, for each of these areas? And for some of my clients, some areas are not very important. So we won't, we will go quickly and we'll cover that quickly and we won't spend time on them. And the next question is, okay, how would you like to spend time in these areas? Then you can start digging a bit more. Which of these categories would you most like to improve? So it's most likely the ones with the biggest gap, the gap between your target and where you are today. And then the next question could be, okay, how could you make space for these changes in your life? Okay. And what change do you want to make first? Okay, I'm sure you know where we're going now. What is the smallest step you could take to get started? Okay, if your career, you're at 5 and you want to reach an 8, obviously it will not happen overnight. So what is the first step you can do? If there was one key action that would begin to bring everything into balance, what would it be? So those are powerful questions you can ask to debrief the wheel of life. Okay. So Anne-Sophie is asking a good question. How do you advise to manage when someone is blocked and says, no, I don't know, nothing in particular? Okay. So with regards to one dimension as guests, so maybe you can just move to the next dimension and come back. If they don't know how to move from their situation to the next situation, or you can say, okay, you can reverse roles saying, okay, look at this wheel of life. If it was not your wheel of life, someone else's wheel of life, what would you advise to do? Sometimes it helps to create distance. It's not about yourself, but it's more about, okay, this wheel of life. And there's also plenty of other techniques, but I'm not sure we can cover them now. Okay, the wheel of life is really a great tool to create first aha moments. I have some clients, they realized they were not aware, they realized that they were focusing most of their energy on their professionals and finance, and the rest was a disaster. And they didn't even realize that before. And then when they look at the wheel of life, it was striking. So it was an amazing realization for them. Another good example, so someone hired me to be a career coach, and during the chemistry session, she told me, oh, I want to change my job, I want to find a job, a more fulfilling job. Okay, well, let's meet. And okay, she hired me, and the first session we did the wheel of life, and career, she said, oh, it's 8, 8 is good. I was like, okay, 8. I'm surprised. Usually when people hire me for career coaching, they're more like around 5 or 6. So it was 8. And then I asked her, okay, but so where do you want to be? What's your objective? She said, oh, okay, 8 is quite okay, actually. Okay, I asked her, oh, okay, interesting. And then we did the rest of the wheel of life. And when we arrived at romance, it was a 2. I was like, okay. She said, oh, my life, my romantic life is a disaster. And actually, I want to find a new job and to move back to Europe and to improve my life overall. And it was not only about her career. Yes, she wanted to be promoted. She wanted to grow as a professional. But first driver was to go back to Europe to be able to find someone with whom she can develop a great relationship. So it's very important when you start a coaching relationship that you understand your coachee from an holistic perspective. Okay, so now how I use it with my clients. It helps, it's the first step to help clients become more self-aware, of course. It's a great way to know how they really feel. You know, again, oh, my life is balanced, but then when you dig, you realize it's not so balanced. And they realize also all the interdependencies between the different dimensions. It gives a fast visual snapshot of their life. You can obviously use that as a starting point to ask amazing, powerful questions, to dig deeper. It's a great way to discover what specifically is getting in the way of a client's ease and happiness. And it helps clients be more motivated to make changes. The one who realized his life was totally in balance between his professional dimension and personal dimension, it's striking. It was, oh my God, I need to make a change. I don't want to be this person. I want to have a more balanced life. I didn't realize that, but it motivates me to move forward. And last but not least, and we're going to cover that, it's a great way to start assessing coaching priorities. Okay.
So when you go on the app, we have a lot of tools there. So when you look at the menu, you go on tools, and there are different types of wheels. So the wheel of life, the wheel of happiness, wheel of management, wheel of job search, and we're gonna have the wheel of entrepreneur. So those wheels, you can use it like depending on the situation. If you have someone coming to you with a very specific problem about like a job search, then on the job search, you will have like this helicopter view. Okay, how is your CV? How do you feel is your CV? How do you want it to be? Your LinkedIn profile, your networking skills, your interviewing skills, your negotiation skills. So again, it's a helicopter view on a problem that they have. Wheel of management is about the manager, like his management style. So the different skills that you need as a manager. Is he a good coach, a good vision, the leadership, etc. So
yeah, the wheel of management is a great tool to start an executive coaching relationship. It's a great way to step back and ask your coach, okay, how would you assess your delegation skills, your vision, how do you empower your team, etc. Okay, now the goal also of the wheel of life is really to help your clients identify coaching objectives. Okay, where do you want to start? Those are the questions you can ask them. What could you do to have more satisfaction? What could stop you to make it work? How would you recognize, mitigate that? Who could remind you? And also, how much energy are you prepared to put in? This is a very important question. It's very important to assess your coach's motivation to change and to grow. Okay? It's very important. And this wheel of life, I always use it at the beginning of my coaching programs because I think it's a great way to initiate the discussion about smart objectives and smart goals. Okay, before I move on, there's a question from Jay Waitstein. What do you do if the motivation to change is low? Okay, that's a very good question because you have to assess your coach's motivation from the very beginning because it's one of the key success factors of the coaching relationship. So what do? Then you can challenge your coaches. So how motivated are you? What could motivate you more? And what would you need to make those change if you are not so motivated? You know, you can spend 1 hour focusing on the motivation. It can be a topic for a coaching session. You don't want, if the motivation is very low, you need to challenge that and to understand how your client can develop more motivation. Very important one. Okay, so let's move to the SMART goals. it's very, very important to spend the time during the first session to define the goals for the coaching programs. What do they really want to achieve from this coaching process? Okay, and you can start with the wheel of light and then move to the SMART goals. So you need to understand what are your clients' objectives. But sometimes people will come with some objectives and you realize that are not the real objectives. Let me give you just a simple example. So for instance, I'm a wellness coach and someone come and say, oh, I want to lose weight. Okay, what are your clients' real objectives? Then I will ask, okay, why would you like to lose weight? Because I want to be fitter. Okay, but how come? So you need to understand why they want to be fitter, because I think it will help me improve my confidence. And then it's very important that you understand the real objectives behind the objectives, the initial objectives. And you will realize that most of the time they will arrive with one objective and the real objective is not the first one they will share. Okay. Okay. We're going to discuss that a bit later. But what is SMART? I'm sure you're very familiar with SMART, what SMART is. So it's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So the first question you can ask, okay, what do you want to achieve? And then the answer say, okay, I want to lose weight. Then how will you know when you've reached it? It has to be measurable. Oh, I know when I will lose 5 kgs, for instance. Achievable. Is it in your power to accomplish it? So if someone say, okay, I want to lose 20 kg, it's important to challenge it. Is it achievable? Okay. And is it in your power? Sorry. And then the next one is realistic. Can you realistically achieve it? And last but not least, it's very important that there's a time bound. When exactly do you want to accomplish it? So the goal will be, okay, I want to lose 3 kgs in 3 months, for instance. Okay, so make sure when you help your clients define their objectives, their goals, that they are very smart. It's very important for you, for your coachee, and for yourself. It will be much easier to coach them through, if they have clear goals, clear, smart goals. And you have to spend time on this part. Spend a lot of time, because most of the time you will realize that if the goals are very well defined, very precise, half of the solutions are in them.
So sometimes you can even spend a few sessions just to define the goals. You know, it can happen. It doesn't have to be like one session. You can spend like 2-3 sessions just to define the goal, because that's the step that's the most important in the process.
Yes, I had one client. I was hired by a company, and they say, okay, he wants to increase his executive presence, and we spent 2 or 3 sessions defining executive presence. You know, and just by defining executive presence, by defining what success would mean to him, he discovered many answers, and it helped me move forward a lot. Okay, so let's move to the next. Now, I mentioned earlier the goal, the objective behind the objective. So it's very important that you understand your motivation of your clients, the why. You know, why do they want to reach this goal? So if I take the same example, and we are all these little kids we all want to climb the stairs, right? But we don't have the same motivation, the same drive. So it's very important that we understand, our coaches are also these little kids, why do they want to climb the stairs? So let's take the example of the lady who wants to lose weight. So she wants to lose weight, so she decided to, okay, I want to lose weight. Why? Because I want to be fitter. Why? Because it will help me build my confidence. Okay, why do you want to be more confident? Because I believe I will be more assertive and I will be able to get a promotion, you know, depending on your why. If you know that you want to lose weight because you want to be a successful professional, then your motivation will be much bigger than if you just want to lose weight because you want to lose weight, right? It's not an end goal in itself. Is it clear? Okay. So it's very important that you spend time on the goals, the goals and the why. Now, let me ask you a question. Okay. What does SMART stands for?
We don't see it.
Yes. Okay. Now yeah. Sorry. Just to challenge whether you're focused or not. Okay. Okay, you are all right. You're all right, that's great. And also for you to be aware, sometimes there's different, so specific, measurable, sometimes it's achievable or attainable, timely or time-bounded, it can change sometime from time to time. Okay, stop sharing. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, so when you go on the clients, on the coaches page, so here Michelle Johnson is a coachee, you can put like you have a little pen at the bottom of the goals and you can edit that. So at least you have the goals that are defined in the app and that you can come back to it quite as soon as as often as you want. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so now let's move to one of my favorite coaching tools. And I think it's a great tool that you can use at the beginning of a coaching relationship. I usually use it after the Wheel of Life, but you can use it instead of the Wheel of Life. It really depends. You need to use them, practice, and see what works for you, what works for your coaches. So, Life Map. What is a life map? It's an introspective tool to look back at past professional stories and events and key life milestones. It's a very, very powerful tool. Let's look at it. You're going to draw your life map. It's very important as a coach that you go through all the coaching tools and techniques yourself. Okay, so please take a new paper. Just some questions. Jimmy is asking if it's the same as Lifeline. Yes, some other people call it Lifeline. It depends. So draw these two lines, please. So one is a timeline, and the other one is your level of satisfaction. You can add the dates you want. It can be from birth to now, or it can be when you graduated, whatever you think makes sense. And now I'm going to ask you to identify key milestones in your life. It can be in your personal, professional life, as you like, okay? So what are the key milestones in your life, okay? And how would you rate your level of satisfaction for each of those milestones? Let me show you an example. So for instance, it's not exactly mine, but I graduated in 1998. I was very happy with a new diploma, satisfied by myself. That was great. So it's more or less an 8. Then first job, it was my dream job. After an internship, I was hired. So it's a 10. I was very happy. But then 2-3 years later, I was not promoted. So it was a bit of a disappointment. And then I decided to move on and to be hired to find a new job in a new company. So I was quite happy. It was not my dream job, but that was okay. Then I was fired in 2008. It was a disaster. My level of satisfaction was obviously very low. Then I decided to move to Singapore. I found a job in Singapore. But after a while, a new boss was hired, and I mean, I couldn't bear this one. It was very difficult. My daily life was difficult. So So that was tough. And then the boss was fired. That was great. And I was promoted as a manager. And here I am, very happy. That's not my life, but it was just some examples, a mix of many different lifelines I've seen. Okay, and then you have to draw the line to connect the dots. So we're gonna give you maybe 3 minutes to do your own life map. Obviously, it might take more time, and I strongly encourage you, if you don't have enough time today, to take 1 hour later on to step back and do a proper one. Okay, let me do 3 minutes. I'm gonna put some music. So Julie is asking whether we should focus on one aspect of life. It's really up to you. And depending on what your coaching is, if you're doing wellness coaching, yes, obviously you can ask your people to focus on health. If you're doing career coaching, you can ask people to focus on their career. So for now, for this exercise, it's really up to you. And you can combine, I would strongly suggest to combine everything for this specific exercise. And some people, they do coaching on relationships. So obviously you can ask them to do a life map on relationships. So it's really, again, up to you. Okay, I'm gonna give you 1 more minute. Just do very high level, huh? Okay. So now that you have some key life milestones, you can draw your line to connect them together. I know it takes more time, but obviously we can't spend time on that today. Okay. Now I want you to look at, are you done? Are you guys done? Can we move on? What do you think? Do you need more time? Let me know. Should we move on? Okay, let's move on. All right. So now that you have your life map, I'm going to ask you some questions. So, do you see any patterns? What patterns could you recognize? Look at your life map. Is there any patterns you can write down? Can you look at your map and see, okay, when or what risk did you take in your life? How can you see that? Maybe moving to a new country, changing job. When, what were the best decisions for you and why? Okay, we have some answers, mountains and valleys. Okay, interesting. Okay, what were the worst decisions for you and why? How did you overcome obstacles? All of us, there's mountains and there's valleys, as mentioned. How did you manage to go up? It's about your resilience. What could you change about your life map if you could? Is there anything you would change? Or many things? How much you be holding onto the past? And I think it's a great tool. Some of my client was fired like 8 years ago, and she didn't properly close this chapter in her life. So it was a great way to discuss about it and to close this chapter and move on. It's very difficult, move forward, not move on. It's very difficult sometimes. So it's a great way also to close some difficult chapters and to see that there are some events that hold us in the past. Okay, now I love this question. Imagine this life maps belongs to someone else. So look at it, it's not you, it's someone else. How do you feel about that person? Okay, now very important question as well. What beliefs about yourself or your life or others were formed at each key milestones? Okay, maybe when you were very successful, you realized that you have the skills to be a great manager, and this is a belief. This is an empowering beliefs. Another one, if you were fired or if you had a big setback in your life, you created the belief that you should never ever expose yourself, for instance, and then it's still here. It's a very powerful tool to unearth beliefs and thoughts that prevent you from moving forward. Okay. Now, I love this tool. I think it's really amazing. Obviously, we don't have the time to spend. We don't have time to spend lots of time to spend on it. But do it later on. Spend time on it and try to understand the reasons for successes. Okay. Whenever you were successful, you were at 8 or 9, what happened? What skills did you use? Why were you so high? But also the triggers for lows. Try to identify any trends, any kind of trends, and resilience patterns as well. How do you bounce back? It's very important to become aware of the impact of past events on your life. It's a great tool to learn about your behaviors in response to various events. It's also, I love this tool to highlight your unique strengths. So I always use it with my clients to understand, to reverse engineer their successes. So why were you successful? What is this line? What did you do? You know, which competencies did you use to succeed at that time? It's a great way to understand your strengths, unique strengths and competencies. It's also a great way to identify core values. Okay, what decisions did you do at that time? And why did you do this decision? Was it to follow your family because your family is so important and it's much more important than your career, for instance? Or maybe it was a struggle, there were lots of tension because of that, or I don't know. try to unearth the values of your coachee and your own values first and then of your coachee. It's a great way also to develop confidence. Say, oh, look at that. You managed to bounce back from a low and to reach this summit. That's amazing, you know, and try to understand and to help your client live those successful events again, to anchor those successful events. And last but not least, it's a great way to start designing the future you want confidently. And what you can do is you can do that, the life map focusing on the past, but you can also ask your client to draw their future life map. Okay? Okay, so now let's draw your future map. So what is the high, what's gonna happen? And you can also use visualization technique at the same time. So let's say in 2 years, you are at a 9 because you have a great job. It's your dream job. What is it? Tell me a bit more. And then you can use visualization techniques. Okay? I really, really love this tool. And when it's properly coached and when you debrief with your clients, you will see how powerful it is. And when I ask feedback at the end of the coaching program, you have to ask feedback all the time at the end of your coaching programs. They always tell me they love this tool and they had a lot of breakthrough thanks to this tool. Okay, I just want to share 2 case studies, 2 life maps. So the first one is Mark. So Mark is a busy professional and this is his life map. What can you see? Do you see any patterns? Okay, there's a huge pattern, right? A big one. So basically what the story of Mark is, he get a job and then after he plateau, most of the time he plateau for like a year and then there's a huge drop. And it happens, then he find a new job and then he plateau, is happy for 1-2 years and then bing, is either fired or he left the job. So what did Mark realize, looking at his life maps, that he needs change. He's very good, he can reach peaks when he's excited, when he's in a transformational mode, when he has new things to do, new people. So he realized that as a professional, he needed changes. So he decided to become a program leader, project manager, so that instead of being bored after 1 year or 2 at the same job, then he can change every 6 months and add a new job and keep this excitement and make it a more stable, professional and reach higher level of successes steadily. Okay? So this is just an example, and this is me actually. This is me, so I decided I was struggling. Okay, do I do my professional life, my personal life? I decided to do both. So the blue one is my professional life and the red one is my personal life. I didn't have any idea about this pattern. And then I look at it, it was, wow, that's impressive. What the hell is that? So I understand, it took me a while to understand that whenever I was happy with my personal life, I was like, okay, my professional life is not so important. And whenever I was not feeling so happy in my personal life, I was working a lot. And then I was being more successful mechanically. So I realized that I was looking for a kind of a balance. But then I said, okay, why do I need this average, okay-ish life? So I realized that I could have both actually, and I could work a bit harder, but at the same time manage my personal life a bit better. So that was a big realization for me. Okay, so let's move on. So get coach. What we did a very fast, laser focused coaching session. It's very important that as a coach, you get coach because you can't take anyone any deeper than you have gone yourself. Okay, it's very important. And this onion, it's all the layers of yourself. And what we want to be as a coach, we want to know the core, who you are. This is all the accumulated layers of your identity that's not your true self. So as a coach, it's very important to know your true self, who you are at your core. Okay? So for that, get coach.
So again, you go on self-coaching, on the app self-coaching, and you can enjoy all the different tools, different tests, and play around with it. So yeah, feel free to do any that you want.
Yes, very important that you know yourself. Okay, we're gonna life map it there. You can do it online, so it's a great way. You get a report as well. Okay, so let's move on to the next and last chapter for today, rapport technique. So it's not a tool, it's a technique. It's how can you create rapport from the very beginning of a relationship. So we want to share some techniques. As a coach, you want to make people feel heard, right? It's most of the time you will be on an active listening mode. So it's very important that you use your ears to listen to your coachee. So let's share some body language techniques. So the first one is you look straight into the speaker's eyes. This one is pretty obvious. When you're in a Zoom, it's very difficult. So, but you can look into the camera. So I'm trying to look into the camera now so I can feel like I'm looking straight into your eyes. Okay. Second one is a great technique. It's called mirroring. Do you know mirroring techniques? So when you agree with someone, when you like someone, unconsciously you will mirror their posture. Have you ever noticed that? Yes, I'm sure. And the politicians, obviously, they do it to manipulate their counterpart. As a coach, you definitely don't want to manipulate anyone, but it's a great way to enter the space of your coachee in a very soft and natural way and to create more connection. Okay, it's not.
Yeah, don't mirror like the exact second, like if someone moves, you move at the same time. So the way, if you want to do it, the way to do it is like if they move forward, then you wait for the next time that you speak to move forward. Like if you do it like on the spot, it would be too obvious and too manipulative.
Yeah, and it's really more to create a deeper connection and to enter their space in a soft approach. Okay, nodding your head. So this is Oprah. She's a great listener. She really cares for others. So let me share with you a fun fact. Do you know that if you nod 3 times like this, 1, 2, 3, there's been a study that says that people will listen 4 times more. Okay? So if you want to encourage your coachee to talk, you can use this simple technique. So nod 3 times and people will speak 4 times more on average. Try with your spouse at lunch. You will see if it works or not. Okay? Don't try that with your mother-in-law. Oh, my mother-in-law is nice, huh, for the record. But or anyone or your chatty neighbor. Anyway, we can't see your neighbor. Okay, next one is be open. You open your posture. That's quite obvious. It's difficult with Zoom, but still it's important to be very open. Now, Lily, you want to share this one?
Yes, so the importance of words, of metaphors. So metaphors are going to be very sticky, so it's a good way to also communicate with them. If you can sense, like if they use some strong words, make sure you leverage on them. You know, like if you hear a strong word that they use, don't let it pass. You let them talk, and then you go back to it. Okay, what do you mean? And then using that word again and metaphors around it. Same if they use metaphors. So if they use a metaphor, make sure you come back to that. So if they say, oh, my mother-in-law is a bitch, you know, bitch is such a strong word. Okay, you come back to that. Okay. And if they use a metaphor, what could it be a metaphor? I can see the end of the tunnel. Okay, what is the end of the tunnel? What is this light? So you can build up on the metaphor.
Yes, and it's a great technique to create a rapport, but it's also a great coaching technique. Huh? Metaphors, this is something we can cover in another webinar, but it's extremely powerful to help your coachee create distance and find new ways, new perspective using metaphors. Okay? Voice is very important, especially these days, right? Because we can't see much of the body language. So voice is very important. So make sure you adjust the pace, the tone, and the volume to your coachee. Okay, if you have someone shy in front of you, you don't want to have a voice too loud or too fast. Okay. All right. And now, one of my favorite techniques to create rapport. So it's before. You need to be mindful. You need to be ready. You need to be present. So what I use just before any coaching session, I use this mindfulness technique. It's a breathing technique. I love it. So we're going to go do it together. So it's a breathing technique. So basically, you're going to inhale for 4 counts, 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4, and hold for 4. Let's start. No, let's wait for the next turn. So it's a great way. The more present you will be, the easier it will be to create rapport. So let's start. Are you ready? So inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. You can inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Inhale. Last one. Hold. Exhale through the mouth. Hold. And we're done. I love this. It's a very simple, easy technique that you can use anytime. And I always do that before a coaching session to be fully present, fully relaxed, and to be able to help my clients as much as possible. We have decided to launch a peer coaching network. So you are more than welcome to join so that you can do free reciprocal coaching sessions with like-minded individuals. So if you're interested, let us know and we'll send you the link if you have not received it yet, so that you can join the network. The first, we will do the first matching, and then you will have the opportunity to see other coaches' profile and to connect with them and do peer coaching. Because
it's also because some of you are struggling getting to the 100 hours of coaching that you need to do to get to the ACC level. So that's also to help you get those hours and learn how do you learn to be a coach if you've never been a coach. Like it's tough to get started and practice. So it's a way reciprocal peer coaching. It's totally free, helping each other out to do that practice. Yeah.
Yes, and you can do your first peer coaching using one of the tools for the Wheel of Life or the Life Map or anything, just to try and practice. There's nothing better than practicing, right? Okay, so we're almost done. I want to challenge you to start practicing today. So I'm going to challenge you and ask you to do the Wheel of Life with someone. It can be your spouse, it can be a friend, it can be anyone. So I want you to practice today, if you have the opportunity, and to do that, the Wheel of Life, at home or with a friend through Zoom. It's really an amazing tool, and you will see how powerful it is. Okay.
So you can do with a paper and a pen, or right now, since it's difficult with paper and a pen, you can also do it on the app. So you can invite your friend through the app and send them the Wheel of Life or Life Map, and
yes.
Then you can brief.
Yes, and there was one question in the chat. Should I send the coaching questions, the one regarding the Wheel of Life, at the same time? No, I think the Wheel of Life, it's a great, when you do the coaching sessions and you receive the Wheel of Life, and then you can look at it together and work and go through the results together, and then you can ask those coaching questions during the session. So I would recommend to send the Wheel of Life before, but to discuss it during the coaching sessions. Right? Another point I want to tell you, do not overwhelm your client with too many tools at the beginning. One by one is enough, all right? So you can choose, you can send the discovery question, or you can send the Wheel of Life or the Life Map. Those are 3 great tools to start a coaching relationship, but do not overwhelm your clients with tools at the beginning, right? Okay, and then take the opportunity of the coaching session to debrief those tools and to focus on the goals at the beginning of the coaching relationship. Okay, last but not least, so peer coaching, I think the tools we share today are amazing tools to start the relationship on a high note. It gives instant and concrete results to your coachee. It accelerates your client's growth because they did some work before, then you can really focus on what really matters during the coaching session. You can be very productive during the coaching session. And last but not least, you will focus on your coaching magic instead of worrying about what's next, what should I do. You have a process in place so that you can be fully present and really focus on your coachee and help them reach their goals. Okay? That's about it. Our next webinar, so next week, it's about how to structure a coaching session. So we'll focus on one coaching session, only one. So how to use a GROW model and powerful questioning, and we will share amazing, powerful questions. And the one after, it's about how you can help your clients overcome limiting beliefs. And limiting beliefs are the beliefs that prevent anyone from moving on, from being their best selves. It's very important.
You can go on GoMasterCoach.com/webinars to sign up for the upcoming webinars and also to see the recordings of the past webinars. So including this one, we'll put it like in a day or two on that page.
Okay. What else? So if you don't have the app yet, you can scan with your phone and you open your camera and you can scan this QR code and download the app. Do not download it on your phone. It's much better on your computer. Okay. Now, thank you very much for your attention. We hope it has been useful. Feel free to send us feedback, please. We really value your feedback and it helps us improve and deliver more quality content. So please do that for us. Thanks a lot and have an amazing afternoon and see you hopefully next week.